welcome. Mike, Mad Dog, Magnati, Street Talk, and other stuff. As you can tell, we're doing it a little bit differently this Monday morning, but nice to have you with us. This great day in June. This is Dee. Dee was with us last week, okay? And I wanted to kind of get right off the bat here, but last week, introduced Dee as a trans woman. We want to discuss the idea of transgender people in our society. We want to get it from the horse's mouth, as we said, without meaning any offense.
No.
But rather than just base stuff on our opinions or look at what the media is telling us, I really wanted to have Dee on. I mean, we've known each other for quite some time, to be able to talk about this issue of transgender so that we had a better understanding of it, and also for you to meet someone. So this whole idea of transgender is not just a vague concept, but Dee's here with us. We talked last week about how you began to realize that you know, the gender dysphoria issue.
Yeah.
And what we're going to cover more this week is how the process actually went for you. Okay, so you're comfortable with that?
Yeah.
Okay, so Street Talk and other stuff. Mike, Mad Dog Magnati. I'm here with Dee, transgender woman, and we're going to get right back into it as soon as we come back. So stick around.
Hi everyone, Brent. Hey, don't mind, we're just making a commercial here, Randall. You're okay. Hi everyone, Brent here. You're gonna love this. When you see this, come down and see us behind Nissan. I can do it. I can do it. The all-new 2018 Nissan. That's done, I'm done. We can't do it. Come down and see us at Town Nissan behind Costco in East Wenatchee. Better performance, better...
Tacos Chava has something new. Customers at Tacos Chava say it's the best Mexican food around. Nachos, enchiladas, tortas, ensaladas. And introducing camarones in many styles. You'll love the fresh salsa bar with so much selection. Are you ready for Tacos Chava? Find them at two great locations, the Wenatchee Valley Mall and Eniat. Tacos Chava, tan delicioso.
I'm Jenny Rojanasatian, and this is Guada TV. Every week we will be bringing you a first look at North Central Washington business, tech, and education news. You'll hear from local influencers and innovators who live right here in the Valley. Together, we'll discuss hot topics, current events, and resources that can support your business, our schools, and this community. Join me every week, and let's get inspired.
Okay, we're back. Street Talk and other stuff, and we're talking with Dee, a trans woman. And Dee, I want to, first of all, again, thank you for your courage for coming on. But talk about the process.
Okay.
Okay, you know, coming out, finally determining.
Well, okay. You know, it really was, it was more an accumulation of things over time. Because, well, for the longest time, as I was saying, you know, when you are trans, you suppress a lot of this because socially it's, for so many people, it's just completely and utterly unacceptable.
Right.
So you go out, you know, you buy the giant tub of denial and you just spoon feed it to yourself over time. You just keep on, you know, ingesting all of that, and it starts to get toxic after a while. And I was in a place where, well, I had just started working at the library, I was telling you before. And the big thing was I was in a really happy place, or at least I thought I was, because I was happily married. I had two wonderful kids. We'd bought a house in Seattle. We had good friends who we saw on a regular basis. And I was in a job that, for the first time in my life, was something that I really wanted to do.
Right. So you live in the American dream.
I'm living the American
so
dream.
everything should be fine. So what is the problem?
Exactly. I thought, why do I feel unhappy about this? And so much of it was, I knew it was caught up in gender. So I started researching. And obviously I came to this late in life. I didn't really finally understand who I was until I was 51 years old. And some of that was accessibility, finding the information.
Sure.
Some of it was fear, unwillingness to go and search out the information.
Yeah. Good grief. Yeah.
You know, and some of it was just, you know, living so much in denial and thinking, you know, I'm supposed to be happy. Where's my happy face?
Right.
Why can't I put my happy face on? And it was probably Jenny Boylan's memoir that really meant the most to me, because I was reading it and so much of it just felt like it was my own story.
Okay.
So I started looking for more narratives. And one of the nice things now is there are trans narratives on YouTube. And so I started listening to more narratives. And it became more and more obvious. I was like, oh my God, these people are living, you know, I'm living the same life that these people are doing.
That was resonating with you as your truth, right? Okay.
I mean, I didn't do some of the things. Many trans women go through incredibly macho phases where they, many of them join the military. There's a wonderful memoir out there called Desert Princess about a fellow who fought in Afghanistan. And it was during that time that he came.
And is this an attempt to kind of deny this gender dysphoria that you're feeling and confirm? I am a man after all, and let me prove it.
Yeah.
I mean, not only to myself, but mostly to myself, I would imagine. So,
for me, I wore a beard all the time. I went through a period where I was shaving my head constantly, which almost, now that I look at it, it was almost a form of punishment.
Yeah.
It was a way of saying, you know, no. You know, no, you're not, you know, you got to start this over. You got to be more masculine. You have to continue down this road, you know, push yourself.
Did you ever smoke cigars? Because I was gonna invite you to have one later. You know, I mean that's a macho thing.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's kind of a macho thing.
Okay. My wife's gonna kill me for that. You're just looking for an excuse to have a cigar with somebody. All right, but coming out, you know, I mean, what? Tell me about that. I mean, that is what's really.
Well. It was this accumulation of stories and this feeling of, I need to share this. I need to, so I sat down with my wife. I have a little library in our house, and I asked if, you know, we could talk. And I said, you know, love, this is how I feel. I think this is who I am. I think I need to talk. I know I need to talk to somebody about this, but this is who I am.
Now, was this a complete surprise to Eve, or was this something, or did she say anything like, you know, I've always?
I think to a certain degree she had always kind of suspected. Like I
suspected that you were trans specifically, or just something in general?
Just
that there was something different.
That there was something different about me that, and. You know, as I said, I shared things with my wife about, you know, and probably my biggest form of rebellion. Well, you remember when I was doing birthday party and I had that giant quiff of platinum blonde hair.
This was a play Dee and I were in back in, I don't know, late 80s, early 80s.
Let's not go there. Let's not put a date on it.
It's a while ago. It's a while ago, you know. So.
And that was my way of rebelling.
Okay.
That was my way of saying, I'm not that was the part of me at that point that was Deanna
Yeah.
saying, no, I'm a woman.
Okay.
I am not a man. And I think that was one of the reasons why I would shave my head as a form of punishment almost for expressing myself that
And
way.
how did he respond to this? You know,
Oh God, once again, most amazing woman in the world because she hugged me and she just said, you know, I always suspected, you know, how do you feel? You know, are you wanting to leave? Because that was her biggest fear.
oh, okay. She didn't know what you wanted to do with the relationship, how this was going to affect
Exactly.
your relationship. Okay.
You know, she wanted to know, and I told her, no, I don't want to leave you.
Yeah.
I love you. I'm still attracted to you. I love our kids. This is what has been making me happy and keeping me sane all of these years. This is the one thing I've been able to hold on to as a constant. And now, but all of a sudden it was like, and now maybe I can open up fully.
Sure.
And so.
I mean, it must have been a huge emotional relief for you to finally say something. Was she the
God.
first one you really said something to about it?
She was the first person I talked to. She was we have never had any secrets from each other. And that was huge. I had to tell her. I had to talk to her first. And so the next day, she was picking me up from work, and she had brought me a dozen roses and this little gift bag of feminine things. There was some perfume in there, and
Oh, what a sweetheart.
it was the most amazing gesture. Now, that's not to say that that there haven't been bumps, especially in the first year as I was, starting therapy and going through a lot of this. She was worried that at some point I was going to say, you know what, honey, I want to leave you. I want to go find myself a man to live with. But no, that's never come up. It's never even been on my radar.
Yeah. Now, how about your children? How did they?
Well, a couple of days later, after having some conversation between the two of us, we sat down with the kids and we talked about it. My son, who was the older one, had the most trouble with it. Even he was like, well, I love you. You're my parent.
Yeah.
And I love you very much. My daughter was all for it. She's
Really?
I think for her, it's like the balance has shifted.
Yeah, right. 3 girls in the family now, not just 2. Yeah, okay.
So, and she's, both her and my daughter have just been amazing cheerleaders for me. Both even my daughter and my son has been just a huge support. My son has Asperger's, but he's very high he's a high functioning,
Right.
And he's just a sweet kid.
Yeah. And how old? He's 18.
He's 18.
So
He's
just
graduating this year.
Oh, cool.
Yeah,
Good.
which is fabulous.
Okay, well, what I want to do is we need to take a break, okay? But I want to get more into the actual process. I mean, what do you do? I mean, changing your driver's license. Medically, physically, those type of things, as much as you would want to go into it. Once you made the decision, how the process went after that. But again, we're talking with Dee, who is a trans woman. We're discussing the issue of gender dysphoria with her so that we can all gain a little more insight and information and lose some ignorance on this. But this is Street Talk and Other Stuff with Mike Mad Dog Magnati. You stick around. We'll be right back. So.
If you're stuck trying to find the perfect beer for you, look no further than Badger Mountain Brewing. We specialize in creating tantalizing craft beers that will soothe any picky taste buds and will satisfy your cravings. Check out everything from our amazing honey blonde that will appease even the most finicky taster, or a delicious frothy stout for dark beer lovers. Experience them all at Badger Mountain Brewing.
Hello, Wenatchee Valley. Christian Shaman here with Bay Equity Home Loans.
Let us make your dream of home ownership a reality. We're here to guide you through the loan process every step of the way. Check out our convenient online application. Bay Equity Home Loans in Wenatchee, your home for loans.
Stop on by or give us a call today.
Just as went on the air, Steve, NCW Life is live now on Facebook.
Hey, how's about that? We're live, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm Dan Kuntz, your host for the next hour.
Every weekday, starting at 7 o'clock.
Get ready for a bunch of news that's coming your way.
What's happening around North Central Washington. I'll have a rundown of all your local, regional, and statewide news. You can also find more on our website at ncwlife.com. Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook. That's Wake Up Wenatchee Valley on NCW Life News.
Walk and Roll Wenatchee's Asian Express is fast, fresh food. Wenatchee Roll's new Poke Hawaiian Fresh Salad Bar is the best. Fresh greens, fresh seafood, and handmade sauces. You know what you want. At Walk and Roll, create your own style meal. Hot off the line chicken, beef, and veggie plates. Lunch or dinner to match your appetite. Fresh sushi, hot entrees, Poke Fresh Salad Bar. It's new. It's Walk and Roll Wenatchee, fast, fresh food your way. Located on 5th and Mission.
Okay, we are back, and this is what I want to ask you. Okay.
All right.
So you discussed this with your wife. You came out, so to speak, and that's
Right.
still the proper term.
Yeah,
Right, okay.
coming out.
What happened? What did you do about it? What was the process to begin to put, this into place?
Well, the next thing that I did, because I really, part of my dysphoria also manifested itself in a real unwillingness to trust in my own emotions and my own feelings about things like that. And so I I lined up a therapist, somebody who I could talk to and who could help me in the process. And that first time we talked, we had a really long session. And after laying out my story and my history, my therapist said essentially, well, when do you want to start?
And was it difficult to find a therapist who was experienced in this area? Or?
Well, once again, this is the blessing of the internet.
Yeah.
And there's a large LGBTQ community in Seattle, and there's a lot of people who, therapists and doctors and everything, who specialize in that community.
Okay.
So it was a little bit, but I found somebody who I really liked and went to them, had that session, and my answer to the question essentially was, well, I want to talk some more as well, but I also need to leave where I'm at work.
Okay.
The place that the central branch of the library, a lot of homeless come in, especially during the winter months, and a lot of the women there have occasionally had harassment issues with patrons. So it didn't seem like it was the best choice for a place to start transitioning.
Okay.
So I went looking for another job. I ended up working at one of the smaller branches in Seattle.
One of the smaller branches of the library?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And let's see, I started seeing a doctor who specializes in LGBT health. And after a few months, I decided to start hormones. And that was a huge moment in my life. The first time I was on it, I got this little, almost a rush, almost this feeling of euphoria. They actually talk about estrogen euphoria.
Really? Okay.
And for me, it was literally about putting my hormones in balance. Okay. All of a sudden, my testosterone was always tended towards the low end to begin with, but all of a sudden it wasn't making it didn't feel like it was making all of the judgment calls. The estrogen came into my system and it was like a veil had suddenly dropped.
So you finally felt some congruity, huh?
Yes, I felt
wow, that's really interesting. Okay.
For the first time in my life. Yeah. And all of a sudden I found, for years, I always felt like I had a really hard time smiling, and I still occasionally have some issues. If people ask me to smile for a photo, I'm like, I just kind of turn up the corner.
I never smile for photographs. My face scrunches up and I go like this, so. Yeah. I want to be a European. Europeans don't smile for photographs either.
There you go. But all of a sudden it was like I could look in the mirror.
Really?
And I was like, oh my God, there you are.
Oh gosh.
And I could start to see. I could see myself in the mirror all of a sudden, because for years it was like looking at a stranger.
Yeah, and you were comfortable with what you were seeing. Well, because that's incredible. Yeah, very interesting.
So. Going through all those years of seeing somebody who you've lived with this person, but you don't you feel incongruous. Yeah. You feel like that's not me. Who's standing in front of the mirror?
Really.
And so all of a sudden, being on the hormones, feeling myself coming into balance, it was like, oh my God, that's who I am.
Yeah.
Now I can see myself. Now I even take selfies. I fully admit it.
So how was when you started transitioning at work? How did that go? What challenges were there?
Well,
it's because it must have been tough for people,
Well, one thing that is really wonderful is that I work for a really good place, the city of Seattle, and especially the Seattle Public Library. They're really fantastic. They try to be very in tune with LGBT issues. They're not perfect. Nobody is. But they
remember this is Wenatchee. We know Seattle isn't perfect, so we won't say anything more about that right now. So
we know in Seattle, we just don't talk about it. After a few months, I sat down and I had a conversation with my boss, because I was getting ready to come out on Facebook, and I knew I needed to come out at my job before I did that. So we had an upcoming staff meeting. So I went to my boss and I said, "Look, this is who I am," and God bless my boss. Her first question was, well, are you going to need some time off right now? Do you need to, are you going to have to do some, physical surgery or anything like that right now? I was like, oh, no, I'm nowhere near that. Yeah. But I'm planning on changing my name. I'm going to be, fully dressing as female from now on at work, and I would like to, come out at our staff meeting. And it just so happened, once again, talk about blessings and things being lined up for you. We had a trans person, we had a trans man who was working there at the time.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
cool.
they had come from another branch, and we're now there. And I sat down with them and said, when you came out, what did you do? How did you, talk to people, and what did you say? And he, sorry. See?
So
I slip up.
I thought I was going to be the one who was going to,
See?
okay. I've been doing pretty good, though, haven't I?
Yeah, you've been doing fabulous.
All right.
Bravo.
Cool. All right. Thank you.
Bravo.
Thank you. I try. I do try.
You do. And they were really fantastic. They walked me through it, and because I asked, and they said, yeah, our boss is great, talk to them about it.
Yeah.
So I did. And then at the meeting, I came out and I had support from them. I had support from another person at our branch, no one who was trans, but someone who was a family friend who I came out to.
Any difficulty with anybody? I mean,
The hardest one, and actually, really the biggest thing that happened at work was I would occasionally get misgendered or misnamed.
Okay.
To begin with.
But were people doing that deliberately, or was just?
No, nobody was doing it deliberately. No.
Okay.
The biggest problem I had was after I was still selectively coming out to friends.
Okay. Right.
This was before I made my post on Facebook.
Okay.
And I came out to a friend who I'd known for a really, really long time. And they refused to accept it.
All right. Well, I don't mean to stop you here, but we do got to take a break before the end of the show. But okay, again, this is why I'm taking 3 weeks to do this, folks. Okay, because. A lot of information here, but hey, Street Talk and other stuff. Mike, Mad Dog, Mike Natty. We're going to take a quick break. We'll come by, say goodbye to Dee for this week, and talk a little bit about next week. But you stick around. We'll be right back. So.
I'm Grant Olson, and you're watching the NCW Life channel.
I'm Eric Grandstrom with NCW Life Sports.
I'm NCW Life News Director Steve Hare.
Catch us on Local Tel Channel 12.
Watch us on Charter Channel 19 or stream us live on ncwlife.com.
Follow us on Twitter and like us on Facebook.
Where we cover the local high schools, the Wenatchee Wild, and the pro teams out of Seattle.
On Saturday, we have a 90% chance of rain.
Catch it all right here on the NCW Life channel.
The Arbiter of Stoke is a series that highlights a variety of outdoor adventure sports that are available in the Pacific Northwest. I dedicate my time to enjoying this natural playground. The decision is yours. How will you keep your stoke?
Okay, Street Talk and other stuff. We're talking with Dee, a trans woman who's going to be back with us next week. But again, the process of this, I mean, you had to change driver's licenses. I mean, stuff like that. I mean, what was that like? And sorry, it's got to be real quick.
Oh, yeah, no. The first thing I had to do was I had to get a court order in order to get my name changed.
Change your name, right.
Yeah. And then the next thing was, luckily I have a LGBT doctor, and since I had started on the process, they actually gave me a note that I could then take to the licensing bureau and to Social Security.
Right.
And I could, and I got those taken care of for Washington State. And then the other thing that I did was I also took that. And
you know what? You're going to have to save that for next week.
All right,
okay?
we'll save it for next.
But again, we're talking with Dee. We do have 1 week left. We're going to do this, and I appreciate you sticking around. But come back next week. We'll talk some more. But Street Talk and other stuff. Mike, Mad Dog, Mike Natty. Thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.